Welcome to the Rangers Roost. My name is Tennyson E. Stead. I'm the creator of Jump Rangers. I'm a screenwriter, a working screenwriter, and a game developer, an independent game developer in Los Angeles. And this is a morning stream attached to my game project, Jump Rangers, where I sit down, talk about what's going on, in my life as an entertainer, as an artist, what's going on in the industry, what's going on in geek culture. Uh, this has been a month that's been sort of very focused on sustainability as a concept. So that's something we've been talking a lot about on the Rangers Roost. And this week in particular has been a rough one for us. We haven't been caught up on rent since the strike, the writer's strike. And um, on top of that, and all the stresses that come with that, um, we're dealing with some new disabilities in the house, and I our dog is not healthy. We've been literally cleaning up mess for the last several days. So tensions have been high in the home for sure, and um, you know, I missed. I'm missing. Later today, I'm missing a stream of the rookies because I have um, some meetings to hopefully set up some work. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of things in the works, which is great. Um, but the percentage of those things that are coming through at the moment is minimal. So my job today is to work on that, and that's what I'm going to do. And I know other people that are going through similar problems and similar frustrations. I've had a lot of conversations with mentees and also friends who are scared and frustrated and tired and who don't know where all of that leads. So today I thought I'd take a minute just to look at kind of the root, the financial root of where a lot of these problems are coming from. I've been reading a lot of game industry news, and I'm familiar with what's going on in the film industry. Both industries are kind of united by a short-sightedness in management. Everybody's working to make the stock price go up, and this isn't specific, to the entertainment industry. It's a problem inherent with the stock market. Publicly traded companies are successful when the stock goes up. That's when they're successful. When more people want to buy into that company today than bought in yesterday. And there's all kinds of things that can make people want to buy stock. So typically, the management of any publicly traded company is scrambling to find those hot button issues that are going to make people incentivized to buy stock now, and they do that, right? That's the goal. And as a result, especially in companies that have been bought and sold a lot over the last couple of years, we've seen long-term strategic plans consistently changing on a dime, both in film and television and in the gaming industry. And those long-term strategic plans are changing based on basically how shareholders feel about them, which is not a stable foundation, right? Um, as a result, um, quite a lot of entertainment companies, particularly in the film industry, have been looking for more and more reliable, stable sources of funding in a consistently less sustainable and less reliable business structure. And desperation leads to unintentional compromise, right? So if you were a big, huge money source and you were just looking to make money, loaning money to film companies is probably not what you would do. Now, for the last 30 years, the film industry has been relying on basically some banking gimmicks that make it possible to do that. But those banking gimmicks are, I mean, they're gimmicks. They're not long-term plans. And the reality that banks probably shouldn't be doing this has been boiled to the surface through a lot of those deals. Those deals are becoming less and less plentiful. The film industry looks to other places to get their money, and that's where tax incentives come from. State legislatures have been setting aside money to try and lure Hollywood into places like Georgia and Louisiana, and a significant part of Hollywood has moved to Georgia, but that's the exception. Most of these tax incentives haven't diversified Hollywood into other states. And these states have realized that, and they've cut off their tax incentives as a result. So that money isn't there anymore. Similar things have happened with foreign countries like Croatia. Yes, we shot Game of Thrones there, but what have we shot recently? Not much, right? So Croatia isn't as excited to pay Hollywood to move to their country because we're not doing it. We're not moving to their country. And they've noticed. So that money starts to dry up. Systemically, Hollywood has exhausted pools of finance by not providing those partners with what they needed because we never wanted to in the first place. We were just scrambling looking for money that's deeper and more reliable than what we had. And eventually, you find your way to business partners that you would have only contacted as a last resort, right? So, who has a vested interest in financing and getting involved in the American media production process? Who has a vested interest? We've seen Russia pouring lots of monies into websites like Facebook, right? We've seen them spending big in order to control political messaging. With the whole conversation about TikTok, whether or not you believe that TikTok's algorithm is calculated to help socially destabilize the United States, we all have to acknowledge that there's no such thing as independent business in China. It doesn't exist. You know, much like Russia, China is a company ruled um, by a hegemony. And the Chinese messaging is that hegemony is in the public interest. And I'm hesitant to contradict that messaging on social media because Chinese money is a very real presence in social media. Um, and I don't want to get picked up by algorithms, you know? That's how present Chinese money is in American media today. And of course, the United Arab Emirates. And a lot of Hollywood films are getting their money um, there as well from Dubai. And the question becomes, why are these people financing movies? In some cases, it's just ego. In some cases, it's just wanting to have their name spread around the world as a big shot executive producer. But in some cases, there's other reasons. And they will, as we take advantage of that money, start taking advantage of their access to our production process to push various causes that they might think are important to put into the media, messaging that they think is important to put into the media. And we have to, as we do business with people, with anyone, we have to question why they're doing business with us and what they're hoping to achieve. And we have to decide whether or not to take that business based on whether or not we think our goals and their goals are incredibly sympathetic to one another, or whether or not there might be some conflicts of interest. This isn't controversial what I'm saying. This is basic business. This is how you structure deals. You want to create a situation where everybody in the deal benefits from achieving the same goals, because otherwise people wind up working against each other on the same team. Right? Don't invest in something if you don't like the win conditions. If the win conditions do not benefit you, don't do it. If you need to change the win conditions of a business deal in order to make it worth your time, it's not the right business deal. Those people have something that they're trying to achieve. If you can benefit from it, and if you think they're likely to succeed, then that's a good business deal for you to be involved in. If it's not, then don't, right? The problem is that Hollywood, and I'm seeing the same thing in the gaming industry, these huge layoffs that we're seeing are because they're overextended, right? We also know that companies like Tencent's a Chinese company, isn't it? You know, we have to be aware. We have to be aware that the infrastructure behind a lot of this money has its own agenda. And it's not so much that they're just going to step in and take everything over. It's that really, if we're not sustainable in our own business, all they need to do is wait for the opportunity. They need to wait for us to get desperate enough to ask for help, and then they take another inch, and then they take another inch, and then they take another inch. And in Hollywood, enough inches have been taken so that you can point to specific movies and say, wow, we're producing content that specifically paints the Chinese government as more reliable as a resource for American people than the American government. We're actually telling stories with that message. I would encourage anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about to look at the 355, right? All I'm trying to say here is that most of the entertainment companies in the United States today are not stable enough to prevent themselves from slowly losing their autonomy. And losing it to whom? Who are they going to lose their autonomy to? They're going to lose it to global oligarchs in various countries and in various ways. We have our own share of global oligarchs. That's for sure. These people are buying up other companies in the United States. In other countries, they're finding other ways to accomplish that goal because they maybe can't actually buy the company. But what they can do is use their financial investments to exert influence until eventually their influence is taken for granted. And number one, these people don't know how to run entertainment companies. They simply don't care. And number two, they may not want to achieve the same things in entertainment that we want to achieve. What I'm saying is, in the entertainment industry, our institutions are failing us. And we can't expect them to pull out of it because they may not be financially capable of doing so. Which creates a problem for anyone who's been dreaming of building a career in entertainment or working with specific content in entertainment. You know, for the people who just want to work with this company or that company, it's a big challenge. How do we reconcile it? Well, we have to provide leadership, first of all, obviously. We have to build sustainable entertainment enterprises. We have to do things, and in most cases, for a lot of us, it's going to mean doing them from the ground up. that do not necessitate at any point making ethical compromises for the sake of institutional cash. We have to build things in such a way that we can scale them up into the thing that we're trying to create without bowing to desperation in that process. And it's important to know that as the, let's call it the oligarch class, exerts influence not just over our culture, but over our economy, they're going to make that kind of growth more challenging, right? Part of the reason why, the prices of everything are going up and income is not, and basically it's the same people who control those two factors, right? When the economy isn't paying people more, but it's charging them more, it makes people more dependent and more desperate to hang on to what they have. It makes people scared to change things because things are hard enough without the extra risk. And that's a situation that we find ourselves in today. So, in order to build sustainable business, and this is what it takes to succeed in entertainment, and this is something I've said many times, is strengthen your craft and strengthen your community. You need to make sure that what you're giving your collaborators and what you're giving your audience is the best of what you can possibly achieve, because otherwise, why would they not go to somebody else? And strengthen your community means that you have people around you to give those things to and to build with, and that's the audience, that's your collaborators, that's everybody involved in what you're doing in any way. That's the whole network of relationships that make up the world that you're trying to build, the thing that you're trying to do. And the way that we make our craft stronger is through relentless practice in every discipline that has an impact on our success and specifically on the quality of our work. And the way that we build community is by making ourselves necessary to other people. And typically, I try to practice that through unconditional support of other people as much as possible and just see who shows up for me. You know, support people that I believe are worthwhile, do the best that I can on behalf of others, and see who turns around and says, "Oh, what else are you doing?" And it's a small group. It's not the most efficient way to go about it, but it has made me feel very secure in the relationships that I do have, which is a good foundation. That kind of security is something that a lot of people don't have, I find. So that's good. Taking the time to build something like Jump Rangers, right? Out of those resources, systemically starting with just whatever you have on your computer, right? Whatever you've got to work with, whoever's paying attention at that particular moment on social media, whoever's willing to show up when you ask them to show up into a global enterprise that can compete on some level with with a AAA game or with a major motion picture or whatever the case may be, or generate enough revenue that you can build the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. It's an iterative process. It takes a lifetime. And at the same time, I also know it's achievable. I know it can be done. Um, because even today I see people doing it. I see, Generation Z building their own brands on YouTube. I see someone like Chris Roberts building something like Star Citizen independently. And it it gives me a lot of hope about what can be achieved if we maintain our ethics and if we maintain our sustainability to the extent that we are never required to compromise those ethics out of desperation. Because in today's world, we all need to be aware that if we start building something cool, we start building something worthy of investment, and we let ourselves get desperate in that process, someone's going to notice. Someone's going to notice who we really don't want noticing. And they have the resources to. Hey, Steve, thank you very much. I appreciate it. That was a rant, but I think it's done. It's quite all right. It's quite all right. Have you been lurking, or are you just signing on? It was good timing. I'd be very surprised if that. Ah, that's that's shockingly good timing. That's shockingly good timing. How do you do? How was your week? You are not the only person who's been having headaches. I don't know if you're much of a spiritual person, but I have a sneaky suspicion that something's in the air, and that because I have been feeling a lot of pressure, not necessarily pain, but pressure for sure. Ippy Looney's been having headaches all week. There's been a lot of things just kind of falling apart in people's lives this last month. I talked a little bit about it at the beginning of the stream. Luna's very sick. Um, Financially, things have been hard. Eh, but it's not just me. It's not just me that's going through this stuff. Is the thing. There's a lot of people who are struggling right now, and there's economic reasons for it. There's a lot of pressures on people today, and that's kind of what the rant was about, more than just my own issues. It was more of a let's talk about where the entertainment industry is at. My DD session Saturday had three. Oh my gosh. Steve Kane, for anybody who's watching this video, because I haven't started putting the chat in the videos yet, says during a D&D session on Saturday, 3 out of the 5 players had headaches and migraines. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but um, I'm certainly hopeful that it's something that I can use to my advantage. You know what I mean? If there's some kind of shift going on, I have every intention of making it worth my time to live through it. I don't intend to go through all this crazy stuff in life and come out the other side without anything to show for it. I really don't. You know, life has been too challenging. And I'm Christian, but much more on the spiritual side of things than the organized religion side of things. I understand. I understand. I actually, when I married Epiluni, I went through catechism with the Russian Orthodoxy here in Los Angeles. So I'm a trained Christian myself. And there's a lot of beautiful elements to Christianity for sure. Absolutely. Well, that was kind of a whole idea. Is there anything that you want to talk about while we're here, Mr. Kane? Any questions you have about screenwriting or game development or working in entertainment or just life in general? Maybe, maybe, but I will tell you that it's happening here in Los Angeles as well. We are a long, long way from what has been bringing me joy lately. Good question. Well, um, something that happened on Saturday that was very nice was that Ibuluni has been working on demasking themselves as an autistic person. It's been a process that's taken years. And it's one of those onion type situations where every time you think it's like therapy. Every time you think you've made progress, you realize, oh my gosh, I'm masking so much, right? Um, but if you watch the metagame stream from Saturday, you'll notice that Ibuluni is masking a lot less than they have been um, in the past. And I also noticed that Ibuluni enjoyed playing Jump Rangers a lot more than they ever have in the past. And, you know, I don't think it's revealing too much about my relationship to say, yeah, that's absolutely true. Steve Kane says, the more you know, the more you realize how much you still have to learn. That's absolutely true with any kind of self exploration, I think. But this was the first time I think that I created something that I didn't create specifically for Ibuluni that brought Ibuluni joy. And that was a real treat. That was a really special moment for me. Yeah, it was nice. I liked it. Um, which is not to say that I don't bring Ibuluni joy all the time. I know I do. But it's intentional, you know. And I realized that I have qualities, but this was the first time that a story I had made, a game I had built, or a screenplay that I had written really, really just brought happiness to my wife. So I think I think that probably there's a lot of people in the entertainment industry who would hear me say that and think, "Oh my gosh, why are you married to this person?" But anybody who works in the entertainment industry knows, like, you're not gonna win over the people closest to you. It's talk to any comic about how funny their spouse thinks they are. Not funny is the answer. So that was a huge personal victory for me. That was really nice. And I know I've shown some videos on my Tekker 10 streams, but Star Citizen has just released the F-7C Mark II Hornet, which is the spacecraft I was most looking forward to getting. Um, they're releasing the F-7A, which is it's a fighter, but the F-7C has a little bit of cargo space and not as many guns. The F-7A is the military version, and this is the first time in Star Citizen they've actually released a straight up military spec ship to citizens. Because there's also Squadron 42, which is the military campaign and the single player version of how you can interact with this world. And it's the design of the ship, the way it handles, all of it is everything that I could have hoped for. It's been a delight to learn to fly it. And Star Citizen has also been making huge strides in how the AI interacts and how the servers interact with the AI. Things are getting a lot harder in that game, and I'm going to have to become a much better pilot. It's great that I have my favorite ship to do that with. So, flying the Hornet has been a big. It came out just in time for my birthday, and I sort of haven't really let that go. I've been hanging on to that. Um, and so that's been those are two things that I've sort of been dealing with. Jump Rangers has been good. Jump Rangers has been good lately. Uh, the other thing that I think has been making me really happy is, although I haven't played it in a couple weeks and we need to get back to it, not today, unfortunately, because I have a meeting today, but next week, is the Rookies, which is a Jump Ranger stream with two people that I've known online for a few years, who I haven't really ever had the opportunity to spend more time with and interact with on a personal level, but who I've always enjoyed. One of them is Buster the Destroyer, who is a Star Citizen streamer. Buster's a huge personality and a deeply committed person in the Star Citizen community. Um, and the other is Liz Ransdell, who's a writer who is currently kickstarting um, a modern splatter gore take on Alice in Wonderland. I don't know more about it than that, but I'm gonna get a copy of the book and read it. It's a comic book, and it's being kickstarted through a company that she runs with a handful of people, including an artist named Atlas Talos. The book is called Alice. The company is called Studio Metropolis. And if you run a search for those things, it'll come right up. Please support the Kickstarter if you're interested. But Liz is um, a super kind, super generous, very creative person who I've always enjoyed. And the Rookies is me running Jump Rangers for these two people, which has been great. And I may invite a third person. I would like to, in fact, invite a third person. And I have some thoughts on who that might be. But running Jump Rangers for people who haven't played it before and seeing them just ham it up and have a great time has been delightful. It's been a delight. And if anybody wants to check that out, it's all online. It's all online. The YouTube channel for Jump Rangers is at youtube.com/at Jump Rangers. And the Rookies is the name of the stream. And it's hard not to love Buster and Liz. So that's been good. Um, hmm. So those things have been bringing me joy, for sure. How about you? What's been going on in your life that's been bringing you joy? Thanks. Steve Kane says, glad to hear it. Mostly replaying Rogue Trader these days. Well, I'm glad that game has worked out as well as you hoped it would. I know you were really looking forward to it. I'm glad it's lived up to the hype. That's good. I've been following more people on YouTube that are involved in game development and in tech development. I've been excited about possibly working for some gaming companies. I've been applying for a lot of gaming company jobs in an effort to diversify my income. Um, I don't know if I said this on stream or not, but I had a quick and a very quick and very indie gig a couple months ago maybe a month ago, writing a writing a it was more than a month ago, writing a Thai martial arts movie for a Thai American director, and I enjoyed that quite a bit for a producer I know. That was nice, and I don't know what's happening with the development of that project. I think that this is one of those situations where everybody just kind of runs off and does their own thing once the writer's done. But I enjoyed it, and I'm proud of the work I turned in. And it's not something I would have written. And this particular director is very into comedic thrillers, let's say. So there's definitely, we'll just say, very heavily Quentin Tarantino influence kind of stuff. Like you might see in an early 2000s action film, something like Running Scared with Paul Walker, hyper violent, hyper violent comedy um, that maybe wouldn't be in the comedy section, like like The Rundown with Dwayne Johnson and Sean William Scott kind of thing. That's a pretty good comparable, I think. At least for the movie I was writing. We'll see what happens in the production process. So that was nice. Um, and yesterday, Ippy Looney made me banana bread with vanilla icing on top, homemade vanilla icing. Yeah, it was good. Hmm. Well, we're hitting the 10:50 mark. Um, anything else I can get into before we part ways for the day? Mr. Kane, any questions? Yeah, I probably do. I probably do. It's gonna be a very busy week, and hopefully this meeting goes well today. I have high hopes for it. It's a good project. It's for somebody who is earnest. It's a ghostwriting project, so I won't be saying anything more about it, except that I think I can help somebody who's trying to do some good, and that's my intention. So we'll see how that goes. Thank you very much. Thank you. I hope you have a great day. I haven't been streaming Star Citizen, but hopefully that'll change this week or next week. We'll see how it goes. It's been it's been exhausting just living these last couple of weeks. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And on top of that, everything's been busy. So good luck with your headache. I hope I hope that it relents, and I hope that you're taking care of yourself in the meantime. And it really is. It really is. But, usually when that's the case, it's because I'll leave it on this. You know, I find that usually when existing is exhausting, it's because big changes are happening inside us in some way. Maybe we're the architect of those changes. It's not for me to say, but at the end of the day, um, there's a breakthrough coming. And somebody who I love and respect very much, who shall remain nameless for the purposes of this stream, um, once told me that it's okay to feel helpless, it's okay to feel defeated, it's okay to feel overwhelmed, it's okay to feel hopeless, even. We have to remember when we feel that way that we could be one step from victory and not know it because those feelings are clouding our vision. They're important feelings to have, but they make us blind to where we are and what's going on around us. We could be one step from victory. Take the step. because you don't know. Thank you for watching. I will see you later this week for sure. Don't be a stranger, Ranger.